A friend of mine gave me this fun animal print pencil skirt. Even over my 7 winter layers, it's still big around the waist, and as is usual for me, way too much around the hips. I don't need all of this. I am going to resize this to fit. Hi, I'm Agnes. I like fashion, I like sewing, I like creating, I like a challenge. Every resizing project begins with studying the garment. This is a skirt that doesn't have any lining, so that'll make it easier to resize. And it zips up in the back, and also there is a vent, a slit in the back. Those are elements that if you can stay away from, it's best. You don't want to have to redo a slit. You don't want to have to reset a zipper. And it is generally possible to modify the rest of it without touching that. So that's the strategy that I'm going to use. So essentially, it'll be to seam rip the waistband so that I can free up the darts. So this skirt has 2 darts in the back, and it has also 2 darts in the front, and of course there's the side seams. So the side seams and the darts are all places where a skirt can be taken in. So I used to do this just by trying it on myself and pinning, and it works. But this time I've become more sophisticated, watched lots of YouTube videos, started sewing more seriously, and I found blocks, the uses of blocks in sewing. So normally they're used to resize patterns. So before you make the garment, you use the blocks to redraw the pattern to what you know will fit your body. But I already have a skirt. It's already made, just the wrong size. But I can use the blocks to tell me how much to take in for the darts and how much to take in at the side seams. It's made to my size. This is the pencil. Well, for a skirt block, you want to have a basic, so it's always a pencil skirt, and then you add flare or whatever to it, but it's a pencil skirt, so I'll be using this. So yeah, that will dictate how much hip to give, and you can see that this is all I need in terms of hips. I really don't need, I don't need this much curvature. I just simply, I don't have all of that. So that would be all. The hips will all be taken in at the sides. So let's get started. I'm going to go off camera, put on a good movie, one in English. I love foreign movies, but I can't seam rip and watch subtitles at the same time, so it'll have to be in a language I can understand, and then go from there. I removed the waistband all around. It can be left attached to one side of the zipper. I did go trigger happy with my seam ripper, and I also removed one side of it. That was not necessary. This could have stayed attached here. Well, at least this tells me kind of how it's constructed, so it'll be useful when I have to put that back on the other side. So it's not a complete waist. But it has to be removed so that the waistband needs to clear the side seams and all the darts. That's essentially what you need. So now all of my darts are clear. I also seam ripped all of the darts. So I'm undoing my skirt here. Now I'm going to use my blocks to determine what to, I'm going to start with how much to remove on the side seams. So I've also seam ripped. I think I did it just on one side. I'll have to do the other side as well. But I've seam ripped the hem so that I can lie down just enough so that I can lie down the side seam. I can lay it flat. It's a little bulky. I've considered ironing it, but I think it'll be fine. And I'm facing the front. Not what I want to do. I'm going to start with the back. So let me put the back. Could start with the front, but I'll start with the back because it's got this the center seam is marked. The middle is marked because there's a zipper and a seam, so it's slightly easier. So make that all nice and flat, and then bring the back, the block for the back. It's symmetrical, so to put it down like that. And let me see. So I want to put the center of it down the center seam of the skirt, matching where the top goes. And there you have it. This is how much I have to remove. And you've noticed what was happening is I do have just really too much at the hip, and also it's too low. I think maybe because I'm short, or I'm not sure, but it's just not where my hip is. So this will all get fixed once I follow the block to determine where to put the side seam. So I am going to trace along my block with seam allowance. That's important to put in. The blocks don't have any seam allowances on them, so you really want to make sure that you do put a seam allowance. I'm going to put a centimeter and a half. Yeah, I think I'll put a centimeter and a half. So that means that for the bottom I've basically rejoined, which is good news. I like to do that, so I won't have to mess the bottom. So I'm going to rejoin right here, and then go 1.5 away. So I'm just going to mark all along 1.5 centimeters from my block. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to cut it. I'm not going to cut it through. Well, let me check. Let me see what the front looks like, because we don't have the same shape in the front and in the back, but on the flip side, the difference in the shape is controlled by the darts. So it may be that I'm fine if I cut this through, but I do want to check. So I'm going to turn this over and do the same with the front block. So here I have to fold it so that I can identify where the middle is. I'm going to mark the middle with a pin. There's a small little notch. I think the seamstress had marked the middle by doing a little, very little notch on the waistline. It's not very noticeable though. So now it's marked more vividly with a pin. There's this little tiny notch here. Alright, so now I'm going to take the front block and put it, again I'll have to flip it. I'm going to put it right here, lining up with the top. And do the 1.5 centimeters. And I think after that I'm going to put some pins, and if they come on the other side on top of the marks, then I know that I can just lay this nice and flat and just cut along. But I want to double check. Alright, so let's see what this gives us. If I put a pin on this mark, and a pin on that one, and a pin just every few marks, just to see where we are, and a pin on that mark. Okay, let's turn that around and losing. So down here it's on top of it, here not quite, but close enough. So this tells me that I can safely just cut that as a unit. So I'll cut this side, and then I will fold it in half and cut the other side symmetrical. So that's one side done. Now we want to fold this in half to do the other side. So the easiest way to do that is to just bring one layer, and here I realized that the bottom was not 100% separated. There you go. So fold this over. Not not matching side to side, not what I want to do. I need to match the where I marked the middle. It's where it needs to be folded. So it's got to match that. And then the bottom, we were at the seam stitch line. So those are my reference points. At the bottom, I'm following the row of stitching to match the bottom, and the top I am folding where I put my pin. So that's like this, and then we want to mark I think I'll mark because here we have a lot going on. It's not flat at all, so I don't want to cut through. So I'm going to take this in steps. I am going to mark this front part, and once that's marked, then make it nice and flat and cut. So I think, I don't think these are attached anymore. Let's see. Yes, they are, because I left a pin. But no, now we have a front panel, and then we have a back panel.